Hello everyone, FPL Raptor here and welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel. In today's video, we have my Game Week 5 team selection. Now the reason for that is because Game Week 5 has a deadline of 6 PM on Tuesday, 6 PM BST, so UK time. If you're not aware, it is a mid-week deadline, so please make sure you get all your transfers and stuff locked in before then. And as a result, we're going to have sort of my transfer plans and team selection in one video today, and then we'll also have a deadline stream at 4 PM on Tuesday. So there are still going to be two pieces of content, but this video is going to be pretty much everything rolled into one, some of my early thoughts, transfer plans, and then we'll confirm those transfer plans on the deadline stream. If you are enjoying the content here on this channel, please do remember to like, comment, and subscribe. But without further ado, let's jump into today's video. So guys, in order to get this out at a reasonable time for you on Sunday evening, I've had to start recording this obviously during the Spurs-Nottingham Forest game, but I don't have any Spurs or Forest players, so I am 80 points all out, and that puts me on 285 points overall, and Kane and Kulusevski have just got attacking returns, which has lowered my rank, but I'm still, at the time of recording this, midway through the game, ranked at 53k. The major rank threats are Kulusevski, Kane, and Perisic, so if Perisic hauls, that could push me down, but assuming that Perisic, Kane, and Kulusevski don't go too crazy, which is probably going to happen now, I should still be on a green arrow, and I should hopefully, fingers crossed, just about hang on to a top 100k rank going into Game Week 5, which I'm super, super happy with. It's been another very, very good week for me, and just a lot of the decisions that I've made this season have ended up paying off quite nicely. So keeping Trent was obviously big. I think most people did end up keeping Trent. If you did sell him, obviously commiserations, but it may be a sign in the future that you don't sell a player going into Bournemouth at home when they have the potential that someone like Trent does. Unfortunately, obviously, Salah blanking in that crazy fixture was ridiculous, right? There was, I think, 15 attacking returns. It was something like 8 goals, 5 assists, or something like that, plus the own goal, of course. There was 15 possible attacking returns. For Salah to get absolutely nothing is absolutely remarkable. It will go down in FPL folklore, and we'll be talking about this for years to come. So don't stress over it. It's just one of those crazy incidents. Diaz getting a full team pointer was absolutely massive, though, because he did outscore Robertson once again. So Trent and Diaz get me 31 points combined was absolutely lovely. And the big hero of the game week was actually Pascal Gross. So in game week 3, I bought in Pascal Gross for Bailey. Gross got 6 points, and then he got 11 points. And of course, Bailey was benched in game week 4 as well. So Pascal Gross got me 17 points in 2 game weeks. I've also caught 2 of his price rises too. So considering I haven't made a lot of transfers this season so far, I've done Bailey to Gross and I've done Archer to Stansfield. The Gross transfer has been a really successful one for me, and I'm perfectly happy holding him now moving forward. He looks like he's getting into some really good positions, and watching Match of the Day, he could have potentially had 17, 18, 19 points. He had so many opportunities to both score and assist in that game, so I'm super happy holding Pascal Gross moving forward. So the team did really well. Like I said, 80 all out is absolutely brilliant. Game week 1, I think it was 79 points. Game week 2, 78. Game week 4, 80 points. So apart from the freak incident in game week 3, we're sort of averaging around 80 points. And we're in a really good position moving forward. I've got 2 free transfers. I've got money in the bank. So this is the way the team went for game week 4. Let's now move on to game week 5. So as always, I'll show you how the team currently looks without any transfers having been made. I'm then going to show you my watch list, the players that I'm considering, and then we'll talk about at the end what my possible transfer plans are from the players on that watch list. So I'm actually going into this game week at the moment without making transfers in a 3-5-2. Depending on what transfers I make, that could switch back to the 4-4-2 that I've been playing in the first 4 game weeks. My team value is just going up and up and up, and that's because we started with a very good team. So I'm currently at 101.2 plus 0.4 in the bank, so 101.6 is my squad value. That's not my selling value. That's my squad value. And we've got 2 free transfers, like I said. So we need to use at least one once again if we don't want to burn. Last week, we did Archer to Stansfield just to avoid burning. But I think this week, there are potentially some more exciting transfers that we could make if we want to be a little bit more aggressive with it or try and make a couple of upgrades. Like I said, at the moment, 53k, but I expect that to be probably more like 100k by the end of the game week. So we're starting with Ramsdale in goal. He did fairly well in game week 4. I genuinely believe that if Gabriel didn't make that mistake, it looked like a clean sheet was fairly likely, but Gabriel made that big mistake which let Mitrovic in. I would be honest, on a wild card now, I would not own Ramsdale, and one of my potential transfers is to downgrade Ramsdale to one of Sanchez and Raya, just to give me a bit of money in the bank. And to be honest, I really back the Brighton defence. Sanchez in particular looks like a really good keeper. I almost made the move last week, which would have been good. It would have definitely had me up on points. Sanchez getting an 8-pointer. So a little bit frustrating, but generally I'm happy enough holding Ramsdale, and I don't necessarily think that's a priority transfer. And then the 3 premium defenders, I feel very similarly about, to be honest. Trent showing why we wouldn't want to sell him. I didn't consider selling Trent at every point. Every single video and stream, I told you not to sell Trent. It's just my opinion that regardless of necessarily what the output is, his underlying data is always so good. Liverpool are an elite team and an elite defence, and we expect sooner rather than later the sort of 17 points that we saw in Game Week 4, that is what Trent can deliver. So Trent, for now, will be staying in my team. I don't think he's a captaincy option this week, as a few people have discussed. I think Newcastle are a decent outfit. I don't expect Liverpool to score a ton of goals, and I also expect that Newcastle will probably get a couple of opportunities against Liverpool. So Trent staying, but not a captaincy choice. There is someone that is a captaincy choice in the back line, and that is Cancelo. I just think the Nottingham and Forest really don't look fantastic. I mean, even early on in the Spurs game, from what I've seen, they look really shaky at the back, and they do offer a little bit going forward, but I think it looks like a decent chance for a clean sheet for City and a decent chance for a few goals as well. And if that is the case, Cancelo, you're looking at maybe a floor of 6 points and then potentially something like 12 or 15. The issue we've got with Cancelo, like I said last week, though, and it proved to be the case once again in Game Week 4, he's playing more like a defensive midfielder this season. He's playing very, very inverted and a little bit deeper than what we saw last season. So he's almost playing alongside Rodri for large periods. So whilst I do think he's actually a captaincy option this week, he's also a potential sell in my team. The reason I say that is if I do Cancelo down to Walker, I still cover the Man City clean sheet. But that gives me like 2.3 or 2.2 million with price rises and price falls. About 2.2, 2.3 million in the bank to then play with to use in my attack. So I could upgrade someone like Andreas to a Harrison. So the option is there for me to downgrade Cancelo because I can still cover the clean sheet. And if Cancelo's not getting attacking returns, yes, I might miss out on a couple of bonus points because Cancelo is so good for bonus. Is it worth paying an extra 2 odd million for Cancelo on top of Walker just for an extra couple of bonus points every now and again? Maybe not. So there is the option there to either captain Cancelo or sell Cancelo, which might sound quite strange. But I think most likely I'll probably keep Cancelo this week. It's such a good fixture. But maybe from Game Week 6, if I need some funds again to upgrade my attack, I might look at making that downgrade potentially. And then the final defender starting this week is Reece James. I really, really hope with the signing of Fofana, and we will talk about Fofana a bit later as a potential purchase, by the way. With the signing of Fofana, I do really hope that that means James will be pushed to right wing back more often than not, because Fofana is a right centre back, or I'm almost certain that Chelsea have signed him to play right centre back. He might cover central centre back occasionally if Thiago Silva needs a rest, but generally I think he's been bought to fill in at that right centre back slot, which should mean that Reece James pushes up to right wing back. And when he's at right wing back, I would say arguably he's the best defender in the game to own. So really happy with the defence in general. Those 3 premium defenders I don't particularly want to sell at this point. Ramsdale in goal. We do have some more defenders which we'll discuss on the bench, but that's the back line. Let's move on to the midfield. So in a 3-5-2 this week, so lots of midfielders to discuss. As always, we'll start with the 2 Liverpool boys. Obviously, Salah didn't deliver in a 9-0, which is absolute freak instant. He did accumulate about a 1.2 expected goal involvement. So by all accounts, Salah was unlucky not to get on the score sheet or not to get a return of any kind. And he did miss 2 big chances as well. So I don't necessarily think that's an issue that Salah's missing those big chances. I think on another day he scores those. I would say that if we continue to see a lack of output from Salah and we continue to see other players for much cheaper doing very, very well, I do think on your Game Week 9 wildcard, there might eventually be justification to go without Salah. The reason I say that is Liverpool have got a very tricky run from sort of Game Week 8-9 to about Game Week 12-13. So there's definitely justification at that point to say we'll go without Salah and then maybe bring him back in around Game Week 13-14. But for now, I just don't think any of the, I don't think that necessarily, in my opinion, De Bruyne or Son are much better options than Salah. Yes, Kane and Haaland might be good, but I'm not willing to use transfers to be switching around the premiums at this point, especially as it's going to take 2 to get to a premium striker. And I just don't feel comfortable only going with 1 premium, especially when that 1 premium would be Haaland, who is a slight rotation risk. So it's more just to say that if De Bruyne was absolutely smashing it, getting hat-tricks in every game, and Son was absolutely smashing it, then maybe I would. But I don't think I've seen enough from either of those yet for me to move off Salah. So for now, Salah's staying. There's justification to sell him now, but I think there's even more justification, depending on what happens in the next few weeks, to maybe move off him in your Game Week 9 wildcard, if you are wildcarding at a similar point to me. Diaz is an interesting one because I said last week, depending on what happens in Game Week 4, I might end up selling Diaz in Game Week 5 because I can downgrade him to a Leeds midfielder and I can use the funds elsewhere. For example, I could get like Diaz down to Harrison and that would give me enough money in the bank to upgrade Andreas or to upgrade like one of my cheap striker to someone like a Danny Welbeck. So I said that I might end up selling Diaz, but he did look quite good in Game Week 4, didn't he? Not just the brace, he generally did impress quite a lot. So maybe hesitant to sell Diaz after grabbing a brace. Liverpool starting to look back. I mean, it was Bournemouth at home. I don't want to over-exaggerate, but they did look very, very good. Looked free-flowing. Maybe we're expecting a bit of momentum there. So I'm potentially hesitant to sell Diaz now, and I think there are some other moves that I could make. We've got Martinelli in there. Again, Martinelli did blank in Game Week 4, but generally he's been absolutely amazing. And he could, if you did watch the game against Fulham, he could have had a couple of returns there once again. I am slightly concerned about rotation over the upcoming period, just due to the fact that Arsenal do have a few good, decent attackers on the bench. Obviously, Smith Rowe coming back. We've got Nketiah as well. There's a small chance that Martinelli is either subbed early in quite a few of them, or he does sit one out. I still think he's fantastic value. I've got money tied up in him. I don't see any reason right now against Villa at home in Game Week 5 to be selling Martinelli. But I do think there's a small chance that over the next sort of 2 or 3 fixtures, we might see him sit one of them out. Pascal Gross, what a legend. As I said, that 11-pointer was absolutely massive in Game Week 4. With the fixtures that they've got coming up, and they've got Bournemouth coming up as well, who are the team to target. Fulham in Game Week 5. I'm going to be keeping Pascal Gross until my wildcard. I'm almost certain of that. It is a real shame he's not on penalties, but he's still so attacking. He's creating, he's getting touches in the box, and he's on set pieces as well. Pascal Gross is an absolute legend, and he will be staying in my team for the foreseeable future. And then the sort of surprise inclusion, or the reason that maybe I might not be playing in a 3-5-2 in Game Week 5, depending on my transfers, is Andreas Pereira is currently in there as the 5th midfielder. The reason for that is I have Trippier on my bench, which we'll discuss. So, because Trippier's got Liverpool, I've actually rotated Andreas Pereira in there for Game Week 5. I don't think I don't really want to play Andreas, and I don't think this is a good fixture, particularly the Brighton defence is really, really good. But Andreas has still looked excellent in every fixture. He passes the eye test. The underlying data is not bad, considering he's a £4.5 million midfielder. And he's still on set pieces as well. So I don't mind playing Andreas, but I would quite like to use a transfer where maybe I put Andreas first sub. The thing is, because it is a midweek game this week, it's a midweek sort of game week, I do think there's a small chance that you'll need your first sub anyway. So I'm going to try and, if I can, make a transfer where Andreas goes to first sub, I bring someone else into the starting 11, and that would leave me with, again, a very strong first sub and also a strong starting 11 as well. So there's a small chance that Andreas doesn't end up in the starting 11. So that's the midfield. It does look really good. Don't mind playing Andreas, but that's the midfield 5. Let's move on to the 2 strikers and the bench. So guys, moving on to the strikers and the bench. The strikers are going to stay the same for the foreseeable future, I'm pretty sure. I guess the big discussion point is, do you keep Haaland? And if you are keeping Haaland, do you captain Haaland? And as you can see at the moment, I do have the armband on him. Now, I'm going to try and explain why at the time of recording, I've currently got the armband on him. I'm making absolutely no promises that the armband stays on him. I think there are maybe 3 or 4 choices. I wouldn't mind captaining Jesus against Villa. They really don't look great at the moment. I think Salah is always a decent captaincy shout. I think Haaland's a great captaincy shout. And if I were to go for a defender, I'd probably be looking at Cancelo this week. So no promises, but at the moment, I'm about 60% sure I'll be captaining Haaland. The reason for that is, yes, Game Week 5 is a midweek fixture, and Pep has said that when they play every 3 games, Haaland will not play every game. That does not mean that Haaland misses the midweek game. I don't know if it's like a mental shortcut or a heuristic or a bias where when we hear that he won't play every 3 days, we automatically think it must be like the fixture in the middle that he misses. The reason I say that is Man City play against Forest on Wednesday, right? So Wednesday evening, Man City play against Forest. I've got the fixtures up here. They then play against Villa on Saturday. They then play against Sevilla in the Champions League on Tuesday. So the gap between Sevilla on Tuesday and then the fixture in Game Week 7 against against Tottenham, is like 4 or 5 days. So I think he can play Sevilla and then he can play Game Week 7 as well. If you think that, honestly, and I personally do, if you think that Haaland is going to start in the Champions League, would it potentially not make more sense to give him a rest before the Champions League game? Especially as it's a very tight turnaround because you've got the Saturday game against Villa and then it's Tuesday against Sevilla. So maybe it would make sense to play Haaland against Forest for 70, 80 minutes, rest him against Villa, and then start him against Sevilla. That's just maybe my personal theory on it. Let me know down below what you think. But I think there's a decent chance as a result, assuming you think that Haaland is going to start in the Champions League, that he plays Forest, misses Villa in 6, and actually plays against Sevilla. Due to the fact that I think there's a small chance that that is the case, I'm very tempted to captain Haaland. Now, the alternative, if Haaland doesn't start, and I've got the armband on him, there's 2 things that could happen. The first is that he just doesn't feature at all, which I wouldn't mind because I'd then get my vice captain. Or he comes off the bench for, say, 20 minutes. Could Haaland do damage against Nottingham Forest for 20 minutes when they're very tired at the end of the game? Potentially so. So I almost don't mind any of the 3. When I don't think there's another standout captaincy choice, I don't mind him starting and getting 70, hopefully getting 20, 30 minutes off the bench, or just not featuring at all. I guess the real issue would be if he comes on for like 5 minutes at the end. But I don't see any reason why someone that you're worried about maybe potentially picking up injuries and you don't want to play too often, why you'd keep him on the bench, make him warm up, force him to warm up, and then come on for 5 minutes and risk an injury. I think you either don't play him at all, you start him, or you give him enough minutes to justify bringing him on. So maybe I'm just trying to convince myself to captain Haaland because I think he's a good shout this week. But that's my personal justification on it. Let me know what your thoughts are on it. At the moment, Haaland is my current captaincy choice. As you can see, I've got Trippier first sub on the bench at the moment. Again, there is justification to sell Trippier because he plays against Liverpool. But just, I think from Game Week 6 and beyond, I think a lot of people are going to want Trippier. He still looks good. In my opinion, Newcastle still look good. He's creating chances left, right, and centre. He's still on set pieces. So for me, I'm going to be keeping Trippier. The only thing I would say is he was clutching his hamstring throughout the game in game week 4. I'm obviously recording this just after the Newcastle game finishes, but he was holding his hamstring throughout the game. And in the 93rd or 94th minute, Newcastle had a free kick on the edge of the box, and Trippier let Fabian Schär take it. Now, Schär has taken free kicks, but I don't believe in any world if Trippier is fully fit and fine, he wouldn't take that free kick. So I am slightly hesitant and worried that maybe he's picked up a hamstring injury. Obviously, if we get confirmation that Trippier is out for a long period, that's great for me, I guess, because it gives me a transfer to make when I don't have an obvious one otherwise. But that's just something to monitor. If you are a Trippier owner, maybe keep your eye on it. And if you were looking to bring Trippier in for some reason this week, I'd wait until you find out if he did get injured and the extent to the injury, if he is indeed injured. The other 2 subs that I've got is Williams against Man City, who I'm obviously not playing, and I did bring in Stansfield for Archer. It looks like most weeks Stansfield will be on the bench, but I do think he'll get some decent minutes, but I'm not going to end up starting him anyway. So that's the way the team looks. Like I said, 0.4 million in the bank, 2 free transfers. Let's now take a look at my watch list, talk about the players that I'm looking at bringing in, and then we'll have a look at how I can maybe use my transfers to bring either 1 or 2 of those players into my team. So guys, here is the updated watch list. There are a few players that left the watch list. There are a few players that have joined the watch list. But generally speaking, it depends on my structure. And at the moment, because I don't fancy taking massive risks and taking out players, like I said, I can downgrade Cancelo if I want to. Like if I wanted to downgrade Cancelo to Walker, that would give me the funds to go Diaz to Sterling. But when I look at that and I think, do I want to take out Cancelo and Diaz just to be able to get Sterling into my team? Probably not. I can make 2 transfers to try and get from Trippier to Perisic. Do I think that's a fantastic move when I really like Trippier from game week 6 and beyond? Maybe not. And the likes of Tony and Welbeck, yes, I would really like them in my team, but it's not an easy way to get them into my team. I don't want to lose Jesus. I don't want to lose Haaland. And to upgrade Stansfield to one of them, again, is going to require at least 2 transfers and a downgrade once again. So I am kind of slightly limited with what I can do with my team unless I want to take a massive risk. But ranked at the moment around sort of 50 to 60k, I don't think I need to take a massive risk. And I think my team's good moving forward. And just because you have 2 free transfers doesn't necessarily mean you need to force players out of your team that don't need to leave your team. So that's sort of the current position I'm in, unfortunately. I can run you through sort of the more basic transfers that I can do with my team. The first, like I said, is downgrading my keeper. Downgrade Ramsdale. If you've got a £5 million keeper, you might be in a similar position, or like an Edison. But decent fixtures moving forward. I don't think I need to sell Ramsdale, but that's an option there. If I want to go to a Sanchez, I can do. The other option I've got, and this is maybe a slightly more exciting pick I could do, is Fofana looks like he's moved to Chelsea. It's not been 100% confirmed, but we've had the sort of the here we go from Fabrizio Romano. It looks all but done. Fofana is 4.4 million, so I can actually go from Nico Williams to Fofana. And just due to how poor Forest look defensively, even though Nico Williams does offer a bit going forward, maybe Fofana would be the better option because I'm covering the Chelsea clean sheet. And for those people that are on like a James and Cucurella double up, I could have a James and Fofana double up. I know he probably won't be available in game week 5, but that doesn't really pose a massive issue for me. I can put him on the bench and I can play Andreas anyway. So that's a potential option to go from Nico Williams to Fofana. The other option I've got is actually to remove Diaz, but for Gundogan. The reason I say that is obviously it's such a good fixture this week. Gundogan was benched in game week 4. He is the club captain at the moment for Manchester City. So Gundogan, I would be pretty sure, I would like to guess, I don't like to guess Pep Roulette too much, but I would hope, I guess, that Gundogan starts in game week 6. So Diaz to Gundogan would be a nice way to attack the fixtures. Gundogan is showing better underlying data than Diaz, but Diaz does have really good fixtures going forward. His expected minutes are probably higher than Gundogan. So again, that feels like a very risky decision that I don't necessarily need to make in my team. But if I am feeling particularly aggressive for game week 5 and do want to really attack the fixtures, Diaz to Gundogan does work. The other player, I really do want a Leeds attacker in there. You can see Harrison, Aronson and Rodrigo all on my watch list here. I would like to get one of them in. The only way to do that is to downgrade Cancelo to Walker and upgrade Andreas, or to just downgrade Diaz to a Leeds midfielder. I don't really like either of those. Again, I don't feel like removing Cancelo or removing Diaz makes a massive amount of sense for my team. I feel like the only reason I'm doing that is because I have 2 free transfers, not because it's necessarily a sensible use of those transfers. And then the strikers, like I said, the strikers are just going to be tricky to get in unless I, again, sort out the structure and change the structure of my team. So realistically, what I'm looking at the moment is downgrading Ramsdale to a 4.5 or 4.6 million pound keeper, doing Nico Williams to Fofana, or attacking the fixtures and moving Diaz to Gundogan. Let me know down below at this early stage, do you like the sound of any of those? If you had my team that you've just seen in the previous section, what would you do with it? In the next section, I'm going to look at, if I did make any of those transfers, how would my team look not only this week, but in the coming game weeks as well? So guys, in this final section, like I said, I'm just going to run through those transfers and look at the team for game week 6, 7, 8, etc. Just maybe a couple of weeks in advance, just to look at Are any of those transfers maybe slightly more optimal for my team moving forward? I am using the Fantasy Football Hub My Team feature. As always, there will be a link in the description. If you want to sign up, if you want access to what, in my opinion, is one of the best features available in fantasy football, this new My Team feature, you've got fixtures, projected points, you've got the algorithm rating of your team for not only the next 5 game weeks, but this game week in particular. You've got your live rank as well. This one feature alone can pretty much improve the way you play fantasy football. So if you do want access to that, link in the description, you can get access to it for as little as £2.10 per month. So it's absolutely fantastic feature. So like I said, 2 free transfers, 0.4 million in the bank. I'm very happy with the team, don't get me wrong. And just on the captaincy debate, by the way, Salah at the moment is projected to get 7.4 points on the Fantasy Football Hub algorithm, and Haaland is also projected to get 7.4. So they are projected to get identical amount of points. And then you've got Cancelo and Trent both projected to get 6.5 as well. So arguably all of those would be decent options for captaincy. Do let me know who you are captaining at the moment down below. At the moment, I'm probably... See, I think the best move for my team would be one of Ramsdale down to Sanchez or Raya, or Nico Williams to Fofana. My issue with selling Ramsdale is that I then don't have any Arsenal defensive cover. However, when I look at the fixtures, Villa is a decent chance for a clean sheet, I suppose, but I'm expecting Gerrard to maybe finally start Bailey, who looks like their best attacker, potentially in game week 5, maybe mix it up. We'll have to wait and see there, but I suppose there's a decent chance there. Manchester United... For all that Manchester United have been, I don't think that's a great chance for clean sheet away at Old Trafford against Manchester United. Everton isn't a bad chance for clean sheet. And then I suppose Brentford away is a pretty tricky fixture once again. So there are clean sheets in there. But again, if we look at the Brighton fixtures, if I was to bring in Sanchez, Fulham, Leicester, Bournemouth, Palace, I think the fixtures are slightly better there and Sanchez is cheaper. So that's one option. Or like I said, I just remove Nico Williams because at the moment, I don't feel comfortable playing Nico Williams anyway. I suppose the issue I've got with Nico Williams is in game week 6, he's got Bournemouth at home, which is the best fixture in the league at the moment. Then Leeds away, then Fulham at home. So I actually really like those 3 fixtures for Nico Williams. I don't know. Let me know down below what you would do with my team. Let's make no transfers to just look ahead to game week 6 because assuming I only make 1 transfer again, I'm going to have 2 free transfers in game week 6. So let's optimize the team for game week 6. Like I said, at the bottom, there's an optimize button. It will sort out the captaincy and the bench and stuff for you. And let's look at what I might want in game week 6. So if I were to bring in Fofana, I would have double Chelsea defense against West Ham. West Ham haven't looked great at the moment, so that wouldn't be the worst thing. But I wouldn't necessarily want to start him ahead of any of my other players. Remember, I've got Trippier coming back in against Crystal Palace. I've got Gross against Leicester. I do have, at this point, triple Arsenal against Manchester United, which isn't ideal. But after that, Arsenal then have Everton and Brentford. So again, I'm not necessarily sure that I would want to take out Martinelli, Ramsdale or Jesus anyway, because the fixtures after that are pretty decent. I could play Nico Williams if I wanted, because he's got Bournemouth at home in this week. But again, what on earth am I using my transfers on here? And this is the issue that they've got with the fact that they've priced everyone so low. They've priced all of these players from the top 6 clubs at such a low price. And all of these top 6 clubs have such good fixtures that most of your team you're going to want to keep permanently. You're not going to want to transfer them out. And assuming you've done well with your transfers, bringing in the likes of a Trippier and a Pascal Gross, I don't even want to take out these 2 players because, again, Newcastle and Brighton look fantastic at the moment. So I'm stuck in this position where I've got no idea what on earth I want to do with my team and with my transfers. So let me know down below what you would currently be planning on. Where my team starts to get in a slightly trickier position is actually for game week 8. So game week 7, again, like the team's perfect, right? I don't need to make any transfers again. Where it might get a little bit more fun is game week 8, the team's not in a good place at all, right? I've got triple Liverpool against Chelsea. I've then got, obviously, decent fixtures elsewhere, but not fantastic. I don't really like. I've also got James against Liverpool. I don't necessarily want to bring in Andreas Pereira, although it's a decent fixture against Nottingham Forest. So because I'm planning on wildcarding in game week 9, I can take a couple of risks in game week 8, and then from game week 9 there are some real fixture swings. So I think anyway on the game week 9 wildcard, it's going to start to get significantly more interesting. The issue that I've got is just for the coming weeks, I don't really know what to do with my team, and I don't want to force transfers just for the sake of content and just for the sake of doing something with my team. We've spoken about this idea of action bias where we've got this tendency to want to do things rather than do nothing. We prefer action over inaction. And I feel like at the moment, the biggest skill you can have in FPL is just being patient with your team if it's doing fairly well. So I think my team's doing pretty well. It's probably going to be another boring transfer, I'm afraid. But let me know down below if you see a more exciting either transfer or set of transfers that you would make. If I were forced to make a move now, I think it would be Nico Williams to Fofana or Ramsdale to Sanchez. But like I said, please let me know what you would do with my team in the comments. So guys, there you have it. That is my Game Week 5 transfer plans / team selection video combined because, again, Tuesday deadline this week. So again, there will be a Tuesday stream at 4 p.m. Please do tune into that. I absolutely love the live streams. And if you're still watching this, please do drop a like on the video. We've actually managed to hit 6 videos in a row, 1,000 likes. So I would love to hit a 7th consecutive video with 1,000 likes. So please, on your way out, do drop a like. And if you are enjoying the content here on this channel and you're not yet subscribed, please do hit that subscribe button. The next milestone is 30,000. So fingers crossed we'll be hitting that soon. Until next time, guys, thank you very much for watching. Cheers. Bye-bye.